Let's be real, the thrill and rush of crazy theme park rides is almost entirely unmatched. These rides allow consumers to simulate deadly situations with no real fear of death, all while staying reassured that the ride itself poses no real harm, to get that sweet adrenaline hit we all crave. But what happens when the risk becomes real and unimaginably fatal? Here are 5 theme park rides that had to be shut down on account of human lives. Number 5. Thunder River Rapids Ride. In 2016, a party of 4 climbed on the Thunder River Rapids ride in Dreamworld. Cindy Lowe, siblings Kate Goodchild and Luke Dorset, and Luke's partner Razi Rahi were victims of a horrifying accident on 25th of October that eventually led to their deaths the very same day. According to reports, a water pump on the ride malfunctioned, which caused the water levels on the ride to fall life-threateningly low. Their raft hit another abandoned raft that was stranded on the conveyor belt, according to Aaron Golifoyle, who acted as workplace health and safety prosecutor for the incident. Their raft first lifted vertically before dropping down in a horizontal position, possibly increasing the number of injuries sustained by the group. The raft was pulled into the ride's mechanism due to the conveyor's continuous movement. Golifoyle claimed that it was ripped pieces of fiberglass from the raft as they shook aggressively, which eventually led to Miss Goodchild and Mr. Dorset falling. Ebony Turner, another passenger on the ride, was left dangling in her seat by the Velcro seatbelt. Cindy Lowe and Ruzi Araghi, who were seated at the very back of the raft, were immediately pulled into the moving mechanism components of the ride. Of course, a huge list of reasons was identified for the explanation of this failure, the most pressing being lack of maintenance and poor shutdown procedures. A lack of water level safety sensor was highlighted, which could have prevented the accident, and so was an adequate amount of training or supervisory instructions provided to the staff. Most pressingly, this wasn't the first time the ride had shown signs of misuse, or even the pump failing. It was the 3rd of that day and 5th in the week. Despite all that, the ride remained open. Alas, the theme park pled guilty and was fined $3.6 million, and the ride had to be shut down as a result. Number 4. Dodonpa Roller Coaster 2021. As part of the Fuji Q Highland Park, the Dodonpa roller coaster has been one of their most coveted rides. Standing as one of the fastest roller coasters in the world with a hurling speed of 112 miles per hour in just 1.56 seconds, it can be said that thrill chasers actively chase this ride on their trips to Japan. Well, in this harrowing incident, the very speed that earned this roller coaster its fame may have caused its downfall. Multiple ride passengers reportedly suffered from their bones breaking or getting dislocated due to the sheer speed of the roller coaster. 2 women and 2 men aged between 30 to 50 years suffered various fractures, either in their necks or backbones, all in these last few months. A statement from the park, however, claimed that the casual relationship between the amusement machines and the injuries sustained was yet to be proven. It's not especially common for amusement park rides to cause literal bone displacement, though, but on certain rare occasions, it's a possibility. Take, for example, in Indiana, where a woman's arteries were torn apart by the sheer force of the roller coaster she was riding. But at the risk of placing a permanent fear of roller coasters in your heart, here's one statistic that claims that only 1 in 7.5 million people are likely to suffer from amusement park-related injuries. Regardless of either, as long as an investigation in the Dodonpa ride continues, it'll stay shut. That status may become permanent once it's complete, as theme park owners just may not want to deal with the hassle that comes along with such a potentially dangerous ride. Number 3. Son of Beast 2006, closed in 2009. Another roller coaster on this list, the Son of Beast incident can technically be deemed one of the most well-known cases of roller coaster-related deaths. Amongst roller coaster enthusiasts, the Son of Beast coaster in Kings Island has garnered an almost mythical status. It was opened in 2000 with its marketing specifically focusing on its ability to cause potential harm to passengers. Many flocked to the ride specifically to get a taste of the danger the ride so elusively promised. But in 2006, when all that talk of danger actually paid off, no one seemed happy about it, especially since the issue came back due to lack of proper maintenance for the ride, as a beam cracked during the ride. This crack caused 27 people to suffer from grievous injuries. One woman found it in herself to sue the park and almost nearly succeeded, but only managed to shut the ride down for a year. Reopened in 2007 without the infamous loop. The ride seemed to stay open and thriving for 3 more years. Advertised to be the tallest wooden roller coaster at 218 feet, the ride definitely had a sketchy building history. One of the prime engineers was hired mid-construction, leading to several haphazard design changes in the very first years of the ride's existence. More than that, at least 6 different incidences involving people getting hurt on the coaster had been reported following the years of its reveal. It was finally in 2009 when a woman reportedly popped a blood vessel in her brain due to the ride's intensity when the owners of Kings Island finally decided to shut down the Son of Beast down. In 2012, the ride was removed from the premises. Number 2, Verrückt, 2016. Situated in Kansas City at the Schlitzombahn Water Park, Kansas City, this ride is the cause of one of the saddest and most harrowing deaths on this list. The victim was a 10-year-old boy who was quite literally decapitated due to the ride. The ride, which stands at a staggering 168 feet in height, was the cause of the boy's immediate death. Caleb Schwab was on one of the rafts on the water slide and in an unfortunate accident was lifted off the ride due to air resistance that plagued the Verrückt. He came back down to hit his neck upon one of the metal railings installed to protect passengers. Caleb wasn't the only person in the raft to have fallen victim to the ride's ejection. 2 women in the very same raft also suffered facial injuries and bone fractures. Accusations of reckless behavior in design, construction, and operation were placed against the defendants. The charges against them also included aggravated child endangerment and second-degree murder. The ride was safely and immediately demolished from its tower once the court investigation was complete, and they were given permission by the court. The ride was installed in 2014, and so its removal in 2016 did raise some eyebrows at the kind of new rides the park was installing and their safety standards. But since August 7th, the day of Caleb's death, the ride has remained closed. Despite being found not guilty of the charges pressed against the water park, the owners claimed that regardless of the court's final decision, they deemed the circumstance as unacceptable and that the safety of our staff and our guests is our top priority. Number 1, Big Dipper 1972. This incident, possibly more harrowing than the last, includes the death of 5 children. The ride, the Big Dipper, is situated in Battersea Park Fun Fair in London, England. This account comes from Carolyn Adamsake, who was a 14-year-old schoolgirl then, back in 1972. She visited the ride with 5 of her friends, not really knowing the misfortune awaiting the group. The coaster had 31 people on board, and in the park, the 3-car roller coaster began its journey. But once they were adequately high, the train almost instantly detached itself from the steel drivetrain that seemed to be holding it on the wooden track. The train then started descending backwards, and Carolyn recalls it all happening in slow motion for her. She could see the brakemen desperately trying to put the brake on despite it not working. Not every carriage even made it back, as one detached and went off the side through a wooden hoarding. People hung off the sides of the huge ride. Carolyn, however, recalls being stuck in a somewhat stable carriage 15 meters above the train. One girl fell through the unstable wooden railing and on the ground in front of her. As she told everyone to stay still, she claims looking up and seeing that next to the carriage, people were hanging out over the tracks. There was blood everywhere. This incident led to the whole theme park to be shut down not very long after the permanent closure of Big Dipper. That was the rundown for 5 of the craziest concerning incidents that caused the involved theme park rides to be shut down forever. As rare as accidents are in the theme park world, they can easily damage the reputation of a park, sometimes permanently. If you enjoyed watching the video, be sure to leave a like and leave a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to get notified every time we post a new video.